Dearest, gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the town. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighborhood-friendly Kiwi Tash from Middle-earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, who's currently writing her strong, confident, intelligent, independent, and dependable era.
Settle down onto your favorite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the ton. I was like, what's my words? Royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and the mood of the two. Deep, because I'm trying to stay awake here, diving into the connections of our favorite characters. What was that? What?
Deep sleeping.
What? We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers.
Dearest list. Today we analyze and evaluate two scenes that again depict two very different approaches to family dynamics, but we learn the same lesson. Women are not in control of their own fate. Colin is speaking for Pen when she's not present. Eloise couldn't learn defense, and Cressida's being auctioned off to a decrepit rich creep. Plus, we learn a lot with the Don Quixote reference.
I'm a creep. I'm a loser.
Lord Greer is a creep and a loser. I agree.
Theme song of the day. Pod snacks, patty can.
That is not the right.
Keys, berries, nuts, and candy, sugar-coated, bathed in honey, gum sandwich. It give me snacks.
I could go for some gummy worms and
I
Sour
was gonna
Patch.
say, why have we never actually done our pod snacks of the day to match the song?
I'll have to see what's playing next and see if we do that.
I'm like,
so
adds to my shopping list. Gummy worms. What was it? Sour candies.
Sour Patch.
Oh, so I like Sour Patch Kids. I do.
I love Sour Patch. Green.
My tongue
and blue are
doesn't, but my soul does.
Oh yeah, my whole mouth does not like it, but I love it.
The acidity regulators. See?
Okay.
No.
Okay, Tangent Squad. So while we are talking pod snacks, everybody knows that our sponsors of pod snacks are those that contribute to us through Buy Me a Coffee. Well, recently, some of our called the Tangent Squat Facebook community chat now.
Wait, let's rewind for a second here. Netflix has officially dropped the news that season 4 is going to be coming. Well, I know, but it goes with this. It fits here. So, as we were talking in our last episode that will be coming out in this Sunday, but for you guys in like 2 weeks.
No, the one that just came out. You kind of nailed it because you were talking about how, and I'll say this, Sadia nailed it on the damn head on my YouTube post. She guessed January and she was right. But on our podcast that just posted, which was the Portia and Varley one.
Yes.
We had talked news and you had said you thought we were talking about how they might throw it at us like a lightning bolt.
Yes.
And it would be around Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's directly in the middle of the two drops. So you were not far off.
Yes. And then in this week's episode that I just edited yesterday, we literally talk about how it came out as the Netherlands accidentally dropped in the league. Those dates are correct. So it will be end of January and end of February, in which we are getting season 1 and season 2. On to Patty's news.
As I'm chewing now because you were talking.
I set you up.
So we were discussing the excitement of these being the actual dates in our Tangent Squad Facebook community chat in Messenger. And some of our more frequent flyers, will say, those that we chat a lot, came up with an idea of a fundraiser to help me. Economically, it makes more sense for me to travel to New Zealand so that Tosh and I can be together for the second half drop to produce lots and lots of content.
Let's be real. America's never letting me in.
Well, not only that, like there's no way you could, leave Ezra and
no.
Yeah. So you would be trying to find the funds for your whole family. So it just makes more sense if I go there. And so they started a fundraiser, and how it came about, they had me create a link on Buy Me a Coffee specifically for this fundraiser. And it's in $5 increments, but you can do as much as you feel compelled to do. And all the proceeds, 100% of them, are just going to the airline ticket and this trip, not being used for anything else. And our goal while I'm there, is to produce lots and lots of content. Especially, we are going to record our first reaction video. Then we are going to have a watch party, and anyone who donates to the fundraiser will receive a discount because we'd have to do the watch party via tickets because Zoom only allows so many people.
Yes.
So we would host a watch party with us together during that time. And so your donation would give you $5 off or whatever we decide for a discount code. We haven't gotten that far yet. We're flying by the seat of our pants here, people. Towards being a part of this watch party. And if there's enough interest, we may have two, who knows? But we're going to record all sorts of content while we're there and together, in the hopes of, bringing you first of all, it'll be the first time we're together.
We probably
in person.
will have to do two watch parties so that we do one for the US, and that side of the Northern Hemisphere, and one for Southern.
Well, and I see
you, Di. I see you. And Sarah, she's also Australia.
I'm also thinking that we may do the same for the first drop, have two watch parties after it's dropped. Because let's be real, people, we all know we're going to watch it more than one. So the first drop watch party proceeds can go towards our goal as well. The first goal is around $1,550, which is how much the round trip ticket is. And then we have a stretch goal of $3,000, which would cover expenses and things of that nature, being
visas
over there, whatever. Yeah. I'm not even sure of. I tend to fly by the seat of my pants when I travel, and I'm like, oh, there's that expense I wasn't thinking about. So that's
New Zealand
a stretch goal.
Is not a particularly cheap country to travel to.
No. And you've already I already know I got to go to the cafe at Bunnings. I already know I want
a Bunnings coffee is probably $2.50 US for a coffee, maybe $3.
Yeah. Okay. But it's all going to add up.
Do I live at Bunnings? Maybe.
And I want to try snacks over there. My pod snacks are going to be all snacks I've never tried before. So there's that. But we are going to produce so much content for you guys.
Would you like to shout out the people that have already?
Yes. And
thank you, Gillis.
Thank you. My ADHD. I haven't drank. I have this new focus drink from Nello. They make Super Calm, not sponsored, but I really do like it. And it does help me focus since I'm, raw dog in it. I'm unmedicated right now. So what we're also going to do, as we do with any contribution to Buy Me a Coffee, you become the sponsor of Pod Snacks. So here is the list of today's Pod Snack sponsors. We have Lady Di with her pin money, and Maria, who is our Song of the Week queen.
Yes. And Funny of the Week.
Susan. Yeah, Funny of the Day. Love them. Susan, who's actually local to me. She actually lives 20 minutes away from me.
Oh, wow.
But we've never met. We've not met. Marianne, who has been a
one of her
supporter
OGs.
of ours. Yeah, one of our OGs, but she doesn't comment a lot. We checked, Marianne.
August 2024. That's impressive.
Thank you very much. And you are a sponsor of Pod Snacks today. And then Tasha's best local friend, Val, one of her besties, because she has a bazillion besties. She's got a bestie family like she has a family.
Large and everywhere.
I can tease because I do too.
Valerie is also, shout out to Val, because she is getting married in February. And am I already looking at dresses? Yes, I am. And I'm so excited about that.
I don't think I told you guys yet.
Rapadoodles.
So, what?
Oh, no.
What did you forget? You know what I never did on my side, which is good. We're only at this part.
What date is the... Oh, no. We're good. Val's wedding is on the 7th of February. And I was like, uh-oh. Because I knew it was in February, but I couldn't remember the exact date. And I'm like, crap, when's second release coming out?
You better have included me as a +1, because the joke yesterday, when she said that Val contributed to the fundraiser, I was like, she just wants to meet me. And she's like, sends me a screenshot of their chat. She's like, that's what she said.
Val was like excited to have a coffee with you. She was probably my first friend who I actually told that I was doing the podcast, because for me, I was quite shy about sharing it with anyone in my actual life outside of Stephen. I didn't even tell my parents, didn't tell my aunts and uncles. Val was the first person, because she is my safe space.
Yeah, I didn't tell a whole lot of people. Well, I told people, but like in my family, is a bad word now. So,
Mhm.
like, I'm not allowed to say Bridgerton at my
So,
sister's house.
hot snacks of the day. I'm eating sourdough crisps in cheddar and roast garlic flavor, which I
Oh, that sounds good.
adore. They're
I
so
ate
good.
chili. I made myself chili this weekend because it's chilly outside. When it's chilly outside, Patty makes chili. And
Chili for your chili.
my sweet snack is probably one of my favorite go-tos. I get Biscoff cookies and I dip them in Nutella.
Yum.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other Bridgerton news for the what I mean? Tell me the other Bridgerton news for the week.
We have so much Bridgerton news, okay? So much. I actually had to make a list. So, one, we have our actual drop dates.
Mhm.
Which is what, January 29th and February 26th.
Yes.
NPS, if or when we raise this money, which if you're watching the graphic, I'm also saving because over the course of this last summer, my savings depleted. So I'm starting fresh. And if we go there, I'll be spending my 50th birthday there before I get back on the plane. So that is a big deal for me because one of the I have this list of 50 things I wanted to do before I turned 50, and this will check off a few of them because I wanted to be in a different hemisphere for one.
Send me the list so I can see how many of them I can get checked off.
I don't know. I have to dig it out. It's in my old journal, but I wanted to look at it too because I don't have very much time left. And due to
Patty's not dying, she's just getting old.
Wow.
But you said I don't
You're
have very
only-
much time left, and I was like, that sounds dark.
Until I turn 50 to make the goals. Oh my goodness. And it's all Smaug's fault because him and his freaking goal. I have my number one goal was to not make goals. Then I made 50 of them. So we have our date. And two, I noticed today as I went in to do recon for today's podcast, i.e., rewatch and take notes. Instead of saying new season coming like it normally does on Netflix, it now says unmask a new season January 29th. I thought, I'm like, that's the first time I've noticed anything like that. Two, well, number 4 will become 2. The first press has begun. They've recorded the press. I don't see where they've publicized it at all, but we have behind the scenes, like as people are entering. And I love that many, like Nicola Coughlan for one, and I think one of the other actresses, but I can't remember which one, because Diane Keaton recently passed away. Love her. And they were dressed in Diane Keaton style, complete with the vest and the necktie, the men's necktie. Like, I'm like, and I mean, Nicola was straight on blazer too. Like she was looking very businesslike. So we are getting presser recording, but nothing's publicized from it yet. All we've gotten is the like them showing up for it, like in their clothes and like a photo shoot and whatnot. And which still, this is nowhere near the presser of season 3. But Don Quixote told me why that is. And I will be discussing that in today's pod. And we also have the internet is a tizzy over some very analytical fans, much like us, who take to IMDb to find things out, have noticed that Luke Newton is only credited for 1 episode of season, and Nicola Coughlan is only credited for two episodes of season. And they're pretty upset because Daphne was in 3 episodes in season 2 and Johnny was in 3 episodes of season 3. And you know, there's plenty of fans out there that feel like Luke Newton got the shaft, me included. But I also noticed that nobody is talking about Julie Andrews is only credited for the first episode.
I think that they are hiding who's on all the episodes because they're trying to keep it.
Well, in our epilogue, we got to remember our epilogue occurred 9 months later, right? And we don't know exactly when the masquerade ball is. We just know it's next year when Eloise leaves. So I'm wondering if the masquerade ball actually, well, no, it would have been after the baby was born, but before, maybe before she released her new, because remember the way the epilogue went, it kind of faded out from Lady Whistledown's voice to her voice.
I believe that they have said that they are going to keep Julie Andrews, even though they like it would make sense to do it. I think they love Julie Andrews so much that she's going to continue doing it.
Yes, but she's also, I mean, she just had her 90 5th birthday.
Jeez.
I'm gonna look her up, but I think I could be wrong on the age, but it's up there.
You keep going on news and I'll.
Okay, you look it up. So, but I also noticed I am throwing out a possible prediction for season 5. We have always thought that
90.
Eloise would be season 90. I knew it was high. Somebody else was 95 really, and I got him mixed up, I think. But Masali Medusa, who is Michaela, is only credited for the first episode, which I think is Masquerade, and the last episode. And we know that episode 8, we always have that, like, who is going to be the next season based on what happens in episode 8. So I'm predicting, I think John is going to pass away in
Eastwood
episode
just
8.
turned 95.
It's possibly. I mean, I don't know if I would confuse a guy and a girl, but it's possible. I just confused the number. Look at you looking it up to make me. So I think we're going to see. I'm a Twitter. This has nothing to do with Bridgerton or anything, but I am so excited because they're making a Spaceballs 2. And the reason I'm excited about that is because Rick Moranis is one of my celebrity crushes. He's my guilty pleasure crush. Like, nobody understands this crush. Like, Lewis from Ghostbusters. And I'm like, no, the dad from Little Giants. Look it up. Or Seymour Krelborn from Little Shop. Well, he went into long-term retirement. He only did a couple of voiceover things early, but his wife was sick and then she passed, and he wanted his kids to have a pretty normal life. So he left Hollywood, and he's back as Dark Helmet, and they've been sending out selfies that they've taken from the set because they're recording.
Like, even as someone who's a generation younger than you, I also think that Rick Moranis is super cute because I love myself a geeky, nerdy man and
a little nerdy man.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I love myself a doting dad.
Yes. Yeah. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And he's aged well, I will say.
I think so.
He didn't let himself, I don't want to say let himself go, because sometimes we can't control how we look. Like, I have tried really hard to do something with this body, and this body just fights me all the time. So I don't want to say anything like that. But he's aged really well.
Stay chubby, don't get wrinkled.
I say all the time, fat don't crack. But I can't control from the neck down. Like, I've tried to make it smaller down there, and it just doesn't work. But
for
yeah,
one,
so that's
and I will never be smaller personality wise than what we are.
No, I know. I always say, like, God had to give me the case to fit the personality he chose to give me.
All right. Is that our news, or we got more?
That's pretty much all I wrote down. There's so much news coming out right now.
We are going to do a dedicated season 4 promo video for YouTube. We just haven't quite gotten there yet. Hopefully we will get there today, but no promises because I am very sleep deprived, and we are the Tangent Queens. All right, now we must make haste. I don't know why the last 2 episodes I have forgotten to make haste, or we keep hasting into other things. We
meandered the one day.
So now we must make haste into today's episode.
Okay, so first and foremost thing I want to say is that, and I know you just edited it so you can remind me if we talked about everything Colin accomplished in 24 hours, but this is the scene where we officially see the one thing that when you see all the memes, and not Mally's memes, somebody else made this meme, the memes and the posts that they talk about.
I love that the meme court is broken up to Mally, not Mally.
Everyone else. Yeah, Mally, not Mally. Pear toppers flying off my face.
Your titties.
But when they talk about everything he accomplished in 24 hours, everyone forgets that he started a career. The man was a man of leisure. He was a gentry person that has a trust fund. He wanted purpose, but he had never, he did try and go into business. He did try to become an investor. But that's still passive. That's not an active business. Like, becoming a writer takes time and work. And here he is sitting here editing his journals. And what I find funny is that as he's writing and looking through the journals and he's writing, he's covering his writing with his other hand because, and the person who walks in, I think matters here, but he doesn't know anybody's walking in, but he's still covering his writing with his hand. He doesn't want anyone to readily see what he's doing should they walk in and interrupt him. But he's already sitting at the desk when Eloise walks in. And instead of calling her over to the desk, he asks her to go sit at the gaming table, which I think because she's the known writer of the family, he's like, no, she is not seeing what I'm doing.
To backtrack a little bit to the start, I said, I love that Colin returns home after his tryst with Penelope and immediately starts working on his travel journals. To say that she inspired him is an understatement. The girl knows how to light a fire under him like no other because she believes in him like no other. Like that he went from that chase
that also fits into Don Quixote, and we'll get there later. But
he literally went from that chase lounge of like chuckling with Penelope that he did or did not promise to show her more of his work. And he's like, I can't show her unfinished work. So I need to get this done because I promised this girl and I keep my promises. So the first thing he does, and this is why this is Colin, my wife, Bridgerton. The first thing he does when he gets home, he's already setting up a whole new household. The first thing that he prioritizes when he gets home is getting his journals ready for Penelope to read.
Right. And as we talked about in that last scene, the afterglow scene and the mirror scene, is the fact that he believes he has given her an unfinished man. He believes he has given her an unfinished home. And this thing he is not going to hand over to her until it is completely finished. He wants to give her something that's finished. So, and he immediately starts on it, which makes the first line that gets said in this scene to me is the most hilarious line in all of season 3, because Eloise walks in and he looks up and he sees her and he's like, Eloise, I have been looking for you.
And she immediately looks defensive. He even asks her to sit and she very reluctantly does so. And the second that Colin starts to apologize for not telling her of his feelings for Penelope, she jumps up and away from him like, ew. And
the first look when she crosses her arms and she kind of rolls her eyes, I think that was her reaction to, you've been looking for me?
No.
I've been in this house.
I actually have something here. I wonder if the only reason that she entered the study was actually to check in on him to see if Penelope had told him that she was Lady Whistledown yet. And when Colin starts professing his love for Penelope, she realizes that she is not and goes back into defensive mode. Because I was like, I reckon that, he says, I've been looking for you. I reckon she would have been like, I'm looking for Colin. And the boys would have said, she's gone to see Penelope. So she's going to check in. Have you got any news for me? And so when he calls her over, I've been looking for you. This is it. This is the moment. He's going to tell me. She has talked to him. Well,
yes and no. She never fully opens to him because I focused on her body language. Like she crossed her arms when she was standing defensive. There.
Yeah.
And when he pulled out the chair for her, she specifically turned it away from him and sat where she was facing perpendicular. They were not going to be eye to eye.
Because she
was willing to sit, but not really willing to listen.
But even
from the beginning.
Even if he had brought up Whistledown, she was in defensive mode because she was like, this isn't going to go well. He's going to say, hey, you're my sister. Why didn't you tell me? So she was prepared for a fight, just not the one.
Yeah.
That he brought
She
up.
was prepared for a fight. Yes. And I want to stop here. Like you glossed over the fact that he apologized, but I want to say I've always wanted to do a TikTok, and I never did this on my TikTok, but I want to do the things I learned from Bridgerton. Everything I needed to know I learned from Bridgerton. And one of those is Colin gives you the perfect structure for how to apologize for something. He stands behind his decision. He stands behind his choice, but he acknowledges how his choice hurt another person. So the structure is always like, I apologize, or I'm sorry for the choice I made that hurt you. Not I'm sorry that you feel that way. Not I'm sorry I did it, but I'm sorry that my choice of, and he names what it is. So he's acknowledging, he's validating their experience.
Yes.
I understand this choice of mine hurt you. He did the same thing in season 1 with his mother when he apologized for Marina.
And Penelope for how it was heard. Yes. And I said the exact same thing as you. As that, firstly, I love that unlike Penelope, who downplayed and justified her crush, as she puts it, to Eloise, I love that unlike Penelope, he does not apologize for having feelings. He doesn't downplay them. He only apologizes for lying to his sister or admitting the truth.
Well, and I think that's the example of a healthy family, regardless of all the drama, a healthy family versus a toxic family, because Penelope pretty much had to apologize for her very existence to her mother a lot of the time. And Colin and his siblings were all, yes, they had their trauma from their father's death. Every human being would, and the events that followed. But their mother never really neglected them in their youth. And they had their first 7 years of life, all these older children, their first 7 years of life, which are the ones where you develop your attachment styles, were all healthy and connected. And so we see a very different, like, I'm not downplaying my choice because I stand behind my choice. I am going to apologize to you on how it affected you. I am sorry that and he did do a wrong thing. He didn't tell her sooner.
Well, I mean, it's not that it's necessary. It's not even.
Don't die. I can't do the Heimlich from thousands of miles away. It's
not even necessarily, if my eyes are watering, that he did the wrong thing in not telling her, because at the end of the day, your private business is your own private business. And did she tell him about Theo, or did she keep that to herself? And granted, yes, Theo is a stranger to him, doesn't directly affect him, but at the end of the day, it would have been a courtesy for him to tell Eloise, not a mandatory requirement.
And this whole time, she's known who Whistledown was, and she didn't tell him either. Yes. And that directly affected him.
Directly affected him.
Yeah.
So, like, as much as she's hurt, and I understand where she is coming from in this regard of, I have been there at 16 where you find out and you feel betrayed. Realistically, you've got to figure out your own feelings before you involve outside people, because outside people can have a great effect on how things play out otherwise. They didn't want to, hey, let's see where this goes. And now I've got Eloise in my corner being like, you have to do this, or you have to do that, or you can't see her, or you can. Like, he doesn't want Eloise dictating and ruminating to him about Penelope. He wants to figure out exactly how he is feeling, because he has just gone through over a year period where people were dictating how he felt, what he could say, who he could see, how he could see them. And he's like, I'm done with other people dictating what and how I do anything, which is ironic because Eloise is in the same position where she's so sick of being controlled for the fact that she's a woman, but now she's trying to control her brother.
But she doesn't see what she's doing as control because he's a man, because nobody sees persuading a man is just like in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, I'm the neck. You turn the head how you want, make it seem like it's their idea. So most people just, and that's, a product of the patriarchy. And it does affect men negatively as well, because men can be controlled by manipulative people.
Yes.
But nobody looks at it as manipulation because they're men and they get to make their own choices. Ultimately, like, they have all the privilege. So nobody looks at it like, well, they could have chose differently. They just didn't. Well, you're totally disregarding the fact that they were manipulated in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and I think that's Eloise. Like, she sees it differently because he's a man and he can make whatever choice he wants. And she's a woman and she can't.
Well, I did think it was very interesting that she kind of jumps up and says she does not want to hear him talk about her friend in such a way. Yet she goes on to say that they are
not quite what she says.
Well, do you want to give
I'm going through this line by line because this is language. I haven't done a script analysis in a while.
Well, she goes, she does go on to say that they are at odds, but that line told me that she still does consider Penelope to be her friend.
Yes. That I agree with. This is accusation.
Yes.
Out and out accusation and confession. And here's why. Patty Cannon is that Colin has loved her from the jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this, so she jumps up and she's like, first of all, it's odd. Like, it's odd to hear one's brother talking about having feelings for one's friend.
Yes.
It's odd. It's not gross. It's not, she says it's odd, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. I didn't write that part down, but I'm thinking I'm right. But then she says, but you have known we were at odds and still went behind my back. To say you went behind my back is meaning you pursued her purposely.
Yes.
Without asking my permission. She felt like she should have been asked permission. So where did he have the chance to do that he deflected and didn't? The carriage ride on the way to the full moon ball. which is before the kiss.
Yeah.
So for those people who thought his feelings happened at the
naysayers.
kiss, no, she is attacking him and accusing him of this being his plan all along.
And he's agreeing.
Behind her back. And he says, yes, and I am deeply sorry. Is he sorry for the plan? No. He's sorry for the fact that she's collateral damage.
Yeah.
And then he says this one, but I love her, Elle, in more ways than I can even express. Okay. More ways than he can even express. So what we've already heard is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
Love grows over time. True love grows over time. This isn't something that he would have only had for a couple of weeks. 2, she says, perhaps it's better if you did not try. Now,
I
think about
loved that
this.
line. So Eloise jumps in. She basically doesn't want to hear her talking about her friend in such a way. This is such an Eloise moment because she tells him not even to try. Like, brother, don't be mushy with me. Like, ew, feelings, cuties, yuck.
Well, and I took this as this is how Colin has lived since we were introduced to him in season 1. We saw how he watched Penelope when he was even supposed to be there for Marina. He watched Penelope in that whole scene.
Yeah.
He walked right up to her at the Trowbridge ball and tried to strike up a conversation. He has had feelings for her all the time, and he has done his best for 2.5 seasons now, 2.5 years, to try not to talk about it.
Yeah.
He has kept it to himself, much like Penelope has.
I feel like this is a running
because
theme for Colin. Don't talk about your feelings. Men aren't supposed to feel like this. Quash it down.
It's too
Be a man.
sensitive. Yes. Anthony was like, you need to squash that. That is not going to be useful, because Anthony would have been his quote unquote teacher after Edmund passed.
Mentor.
And we see the change in Anthony and how that affects Colin in the study scene, right?
Yes.
Compared to him being so overbearing and demanding, that I think he realizes feelings are important and you need to speak them out loud. Whereas before he didn't think you should.
People deserve to know if you have feelings for them. And
so I think he has survived for this long, believing that trying not to talk about it was the right thing to do for all involved.
Trying to feel less.
For reasons that play into the Don Quixote thing. But he then jumps in and says,
well,
but you loved her too.
Once.
You
were
loved her
inseparable.
once. And when were they inseparable? Anytime in season 3? No. And why would he go, you were inseparable? Like, he enunciated that word. Every single syllable of it was its own word. Why did he speak it this way?
Teacher Collins coming out, inseparable.
The reason he says it this way is because he has tried to separate them.
Yeah.
He has tried to have conversations with Penelope on his own.
He's like, I know that you guys are inseparable. You've been blocking me for years.
Like, he might as well have said, you were Colin blocking me. I had to go behind your back because that's the only way I can make it
orchestrated
happen.
this entire feud between you two so I'd actually stand a chance with her.
Well, I mean, I don't think he orchestrated it, but he certainly took advantage of a not so great situation. He's like, oh, wait.
Yes.
This could work to my benefit.
He was living his best life.
Yeah, he was. And now it's important to him to get her blessing now that it's all said and done.
So yeah, Colin takes the tact of, well, you loved her once, you were inseparable. She once again had the defensive stance and was shaking her head like as if trying to deny it, but you can see even as Colin continues that she is softening. He begins talking about their childhood and Don Quixote and being knights together, and this is when Eloise finally looks like she is softening, and in doing so, sort of that she's letting some of the pain out as well, because I think Colin's continues about how, like, you were to be sister-in-laws, please not subs, Portia and Violet get married.
Well,
that's a whole other fanfic. Sister-in-laws with Penelope, and that would have once been her greatest dream. This is when Eloise kind of starts looking pained, and it's not that she doesn't want to be friends with Penelope again. She just doesn't know how to get past her own feelings to get back to it.
Yeah.
And I think it legitimately pains her to be separated from Penelope, and she's like, I love her, like, I miss her. She was my other half, I just don't know how to get back there, and I can't explain to you why. So she's got this double-edged sword of the only way to explain to you why it's so hard to get back there, but I can't, because then you will be there, and now I'm listening to how much you love her, and I can't do that to you. And
Well,
I think that's why she starts to look upset, because she's realizing if he knows, he is going to feel the pain that I do, and I don't wish that on him.
Well, there's that. I think there's that. But I also think these are the two people in the whole family who hold a grudge for the longest time. I think they are mad, and they don't know how to get back to good once they're done being mad.
Yeah.
In the family that they have, it's easy. You just, because you see them every day and you can't cut them out, right? They're there. But Penelope is a friend. She can be cut out, and she was cut out. And Eloise made it clear, like, she was at the house today. Let's just not have her at the house. Okay. Let's not do that. Like, I'm not ready. And then here she's looking pained, like she doesn't say she's not her friend. She's calling her friend through this whole scene.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know how to not be at odds anymore. She doesn't know how to repair something that isn't family. And I think that's why she doesn't repair until the marriage is done, because she now has to, and she has a reason to fix it. Like, in fact, there's not even real fixing between Penelope and Eloise. It just happens because now she's my sister.
So you know how, like, sometimes we're in a bad mood and you're like, you know what, I don't want you to fix it. I just want to be in my bad mood, and I'll be out of it when I'm out of it. And I feel like Eloise is sort of like that as well. Like, I feel like she is the kind to ruminate on things that purposefully keeps her in that bad mood, because like Penelope's like, hey, this thing happened, it hurt my feelings, I'm gonna feel my feelings, and then I'm gonna move on, as a healthy person does. But Eloise
and
is
the
like,
thing is
let me wind myself.
It's very much acknowledged that women who are ADHD, because we have both the autism and the ADHD is emotional dysregulation, and autistic people have hardcore rumination.
Yes.
They ruminate over social interactions and things that happened 10 years ago, just because of the type of memory they have, the way their brain works and everything. And they have determined that people with ADHD can elicit the exact same strength of feeling talking about a situation, even though it was 10 years ago.
Not even just
is
talking
the
about
same.
it.
That is the same as they originally felt it when it occurred.
So yeah, scientists have discovered now that when we play out scenarios in our head, doesn't matter if it happened 100 years ago, doesn't happen if it happened 5 minutes ago. When we play out scenarios in our head, or even future scenarios of, okay, I had a situation at work and I need to confront my boss, and I play out 5 different scenarios, your body then goes through that stress. Even though you're not actually having the conversation, your body still goes through the same stress response. And so I feel like Eloise, every time she thinks on it, she winds herself into the state where it's like she's reliving it over and over and over again. And so she doesn't know how to get past that. I felt my feelings and now I move on. She's just like, but I'm still feeling the feelings.
And she can't move on because she has to get to the point where she acknowledges her own part in it. Because she equated her heartbreak with Theo to Whistledown.
Yes.
So it was easy to put the blame there and not look inward into herself. So it's not until she looks into herself and she speaks the words out loud, I was reckless, that her and Penelope even had a chance. Because as long as she was vilifying Whistledown, i.e. Penelope, she's putting her own shame, her own anger at herself in it as well onto Penelope, and that just made it 10 times worse. She had to take some of that off of her so she could see her as human and not evil, right?
Yeah.
She had to acknowledge her own humanity and her ability to make a mistake to be able to get to that.
Yeah, and I think it does take a lot of emotional maturity to be able to look at a scenario where you were hurt and actually see the part that you played in it, because I think that Eloise very much struggles with victim mentality because she can only ever see her perspective. I think with the autism side of it, or ADHD, I think that she struggles with empathy very greatly. And so putting herself in someone else's shoes to understand how and why, what they, you know, the motivations behind what they did, that's something that just does not happen with her, because she's like, why would I do that? Why would I put myself in someone else's shoes? I'm Eloise. Like, she is very literal thinking, very like A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, exactly.
She's very linear thinking. And so to be able to empathize and figure out, hey, I actually was being really reckless and this could have ended really badly for me. She's like not the kind to take accountability for her own actions. And I think that will be a huge part of her growth. But we do have to remember that they do write these characters, one, that 16, 17, 18 years old. Remember what you were like at 16, 17, 18 years old. We were a mess. Secondly,
We were a mess.
Secondly, they write these characters specifically to have great flaws so that they can have character growth. Violet, who's probably revered as one of the greatest mothers of a not fantasy, not romance, a period piece.
Period. Yeah.
Because the way that she parents. I mean, there are still people out there who hold great issue with their parenting style. Like Sarah, she highlights some parts where
valid points. Yeah.
Some really, thank you. That's what I was looking for. Some really valid points about Violet's lack of understanding of Francesca's need, lack of paying attention. And I do have to acknowledge that.
And with Eloise as well.
Yes, I have to acknowledge that she has 8 children and you only have so much time, energy, and space in a day. Even if she has
Portia
help.
couldn't do it with 3.
Yeah. So like they are valid though. Like 100% they are valid. And it's like, well, the reason that they have given these characters so many flaws in the start, we see it season 1 and 2 with Anthony, is that if they can have that character growth for their season. So they're kind of setting it up specifically for the season, the way that they all have that physical and emotional glow up for their season.
Right.
Except for
Now do I get to talk about...
That was a mess. Yes, you can talk about Don Quixote now.
Okay, so Don Quixote is mentioned specifically, and we're gonna let's think back to another piece of literature that was mentioned specifically, which was Emma, which was not published in 1815. We'll just start. But it was mentioned for a reason, because it was a friends to lovers story. It was their biggest conflict was when Emma does something that Mr. Knightley doesn't agree with, and she feels hurt that he doesn't admire her as much as he seemed to previously. And she's a matchmaker. So all of this fits into the season. So we have to look at Don Quixote the same way. Don Quixote is going to be indicative of this season. Like it's going to be a mirror, allegory, what have you. So I have not read Don Quixote. So I did what any good Gen Xer will do. I went to Cliff's. So, and actually before I had gone to Wikipedia, I'm just going to cite my sources, basically just to get the synopsis of the story, which is pretty interesting. This member of the lowest nobility, so he's lowborn, but he's still noble. So let's think Penelope sort of thing. But I'm just saying Penelope here as an idea of like, there is a hierarchy, and it's not necessarily the titles, although that plays into it. It's also the history of the family, and it's the family's reputation in society places them.
Big reputation.
That plays them in.
Ooh, you and me got a big reputation. I know
that
you heard about
them
me.
Higher up, better prospects or lower prospects, that sort of thing. You have a hierarchy in the nobility as well. So he reads so many chivalry romances that he loses his mind. He goes crazy, and he decides to become a knight errant, which is just, he travels around and he does good deeds because he's trying to bring back chivalry and enlighten, and to serve his nation. And he goes by the name of Don Quixote. While he's doing this, he has a squire, and I'll get into the themes in a minute. But basically he goes around his country and he does all of these, what he considers good deeds, but sometimes the people that he's doing them for don't consider them good. And a lot of the things he does at the behest of a noble woman who is higher birth than him, and her name is Dulcinea, and he believes himself in love with her. I say he believes himself in love because he's crazy. He's gone crazy. And there's a reason he's crazy in the book, because it plays into the theming. But it's basically this man goes around and he's trying to bring back chivalry. And chivalry is, doing good deeds just for the sake of the deed itself, not for any sort of notoriety or what have you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on Cliff's Notes, when I went to Cliff's Notes looking for a synopsis today, I instead found critical essays about themes in Don Quixote. And I found some very interesting things that play into our season. So, first of all, the main theme of Don Quixote is fantasy versus reality, which we know that Penn and Colin both suffer from the fantasy version of each other that they have, and they come to learn and love the real version of each other, right, in this season. In Don Quixote, though, the theme is that these are not opposites of each other, fantasy and reality, but they flow on a continuum. So you can have some situations that are part fantasy, part reality. And Don Quixote is a knight errant. And the reason he goes crazy in the book, the reason he's depicted as crazy, is because he seeks out truth and justice at their very literal form. So where some people would see something as a truth, he doesn't see it as truth. Like, for example, a shepherd beats
the flock of sheep.
Yeah, the shepherd beats the other person helping tend the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
He beats him because he wasn't taking care of the sheep well enough. And they come to Don Quixote to solve the problem, like who's at fault. And Don Quixote can't say whether or not this person truly didn't tend the sheep well. He can't say that the guy made an excuse just to be able to beat somebody up. He said, honestly, the truth of the matter is he's higher up than you. He has power based on his authority. He has power because he's a bigger person. He's a man, you're a boy. So basically, might makes right. Like, the truth of the matter is he was going to beat you regardless. All this other stuff doesn't matter. And they were both mad, So I found that interesting, truth and justice, because I think the two people standing in the scene with each other, Colin, quote unquote, doesn't lie, right? That's a big theme going into the second half. Colin doesn't lie. So he is truth. And Eloise, her justice hackles get up all the time. So she is the justice version of that. So Don Quixote is always seeking clarity and truth.
But the only way for him to gain his sanity back was to renounce chivalry.
He had to renounce the ability for chivalry to come back. Like, there's his hope. Insanity. Yeah, he had to lose hope and he died at that point.
That was a sad ending.
It was kind of sad, yes. So I'm going to talk about the secondary theme before I talk about the manipulation of the marketing department of Shondaland and Netflix.
Oh, you mean the manipulation of the Duke and Duchess?
Yes, that's part of it.
Yeah,
the puppetry. Yes.
Yeah.
So this one of the secondary themes of Don Quixote is romantic love. There are several matchups in Don Quixote, and their main theme is that they're all two people who love each other, who are not of the same level in society, and they love each other despite parental/familial disapproval. And what have I said from the beginning? Colin did not profess his feelings because he believed that Portia and Antony would disapprove of the match. Yeah. And now in this case, he also has Eloise because he specifically is seeking her blessing. But so those are the themings of Don Quixote that kind of play into our season and into this scene as well. Like, it's specifically, this particular memory is specifically mentioned to give us a nugget to go do a little research on our own so that we can understand some of the themes, especially that will play through the second half, because it's a big important thing about Colin not lying and not wanting to lie to anyone and being a man of his word and keeping his promises. Plays into how much we know he truly loves Penelope even when he's angry.
And I feel like that line about like him having to give up on chivalry in order to be able to gain his sanity back, it was like Colin had to give up the appearance, trying to please the Ton, trying to fit into the Ton, trying to please the Ton in order to finally be together with Penelope. He needed to stop trying to be fake. He needed to stop trying to appease everyone else. Antony, Eloise, society, Portia, and actually just say, hey, none of them matter. Penelope and I are the only ones that matter. So in order to gain what he truly wanted in life, he had to let go of the chivalry.
Well, and I see chivalry kind of also as his hero complex.
Yeah.
So, and that is why he did not quote unquote save Pen in the end. That is why she had to stand up
Save
for herself,
yeah.
because he had for him to be able to get what he wants in the end, for him to be able to no longer be crazy. You know, he had to give up the delusion that he needed to be the hero, and he had to let Pen stand on her own. So that does play into it. But spoiler alert, Bridgerton fandom, Pollen fans specifically, I believe that the press tour was concocted based on a theme in Don Quixote. There are several for some reason. There are several there's puppet shows, and specifically he ends up jumping into a puppeteer's puppet show and fighting these puppets because he delusionally believes it to be real when it's fake. It's a puppet show. And he realizes too late, after he's destroyed this man's puppets and the scenery and everything, and he has to apologize for his actions, he did not realize it was staged, that it was not real. He believed it to be serious and real. And so he jumped in and fought. And this theming happens several times in the book. There are people that use Don Quixote as a puppet for their own means because they can stage one of his quests that he goes on. Like he goes on these quests to do good deeds and stuff. So they stage a quest as a means to an end to get something that they want. And he goes into it the whole time believing it's real. So in this particular essay says, knowing something is false allows viewers to enjoy it while it's happening, but then walk away from it. But when they believe in the stagecraft, when they believe that it's serious, it causes them to remain invested long after it's over. So they used Don Quixote in these methods. They made him believe it was serious, so he stayed invested until their means to an end was done. He was a means to an end. Well, and I think that the marketing department played this up. Luke Newton and Nicola, we did not imagine any of their body language, any of their looks. And that was all purpose to get us invested into wondering if their relationship was real or not. And I think there's a lot of problems with writing and pacing of the season that I think they used this tactic as a way to keep us invested. I mean, look at us. We're still talking about it a year and a half later. Tosh and I are already doing the math, like we're not even going to finish analyzing season 3 before season 4 drops. What are we going to do? We're having to make a plan. So they did this purposefully to involve and invest so many fans.
Well, and I noticed a lot of fans at the moment aren't even phased as to why we're not getting Luke and Yaren content yet, or press tours. People are still yearning for seeing Luke and Nicola together, and we did not see this with Jonathan Bailey and Simone Ashley. Granted, Jonathan Bailey is gay. We did get it a little bit with India and Corey. People were also like, they had really, really, really extraordinary chemistry as well. Not on Luke and Nicola's level, but I think they are definitely the diamonds of the season as far as chemistry is concerned.
When I saw the same story being used in other press tours of cut, you know what I mean? Yeah. That I knew it was staged. I knew, I kind of know the industry, so I knew it was staged anyway. But the fact is I almost feel, I don't want to say slap in the face, but I feel like this was a secret way and, kind of like a Easter egg way of Shondaland and Netflix.
Pause. Sorry, you just cut out the last 10 seconds.
Cut out audio?
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying that that I felt like this was kind of an Easter egg, I don't want to say slap in the face, but like an Easter egg of doing the thing, manipulating us, but telling us that's what they're doing by using Don Quixote as a reference. Like, by the way...
Here's the puppet strings. They were there all along.
And
I showed you them, so you can't be mad.
And it plays because Don Quixote is mentioned in the second half. All of the shipping stuff happened leading up to the first half and between the first half and second half. And then what happens the day the second half drops? We have the hard launch.
Yeah.
So the illusion is now over.
Shattered.
Right?
Yeah.
So they use the illusion to market they got fans to believe, ship them. Are they a real? I mean, there are people still today on the internet that are saying that they're secretly married. And I mean, who knows? Maybe they are, and they're playing all this other stuff up for whatever reason.
I do not think so. She did not come all the way to Australia with another boyfriend.
But there is legitimate, like, these scandal sheets tell the truth. They just don't give names. And there's a scandal. I forget what they call it. It's not a scandal sheet, but it's basically a scandal sheet that says there is a UK couple that are in a relationship on a show or in a movie that nobody knows they're really together. And they do everything they can to squash any sightings, pictures of them together, anything like that. So a lot of people have decided that is Nickel. And I'm not saying me, I'm saying on the tiki-taki. So bless, knocked him off my face again.
All right. So
but yes, that is Don Quixote and how that fits in. And like, I'm glad I finally got to. I've been holding on to that for a while.
So this is where Colin sort of throws it all in the mud, though, because he continues on to say that he has a gift for Eloise and goes on to bring her the Queen's decree, stating, if you bring me any information on Lady Whistledown and help unmask her, I will give you a ransom, essentially. Eloise looks truly pained here. It's not that she doesn't. I've just gone on to the wrong notes. I highlighted the wrong thing.
I don't think he threw it in the mud. I think.
Well, no, unintentionally, like completely unintentionally. Like he thinks, oh, we've had a nice chat. Also, hey, to make your day even better, he throws it in the mud, completely unbeknownst to him. I wasn't throwing him under the bus with that one.
Well, and
he says, I know you despise Whistledown as much as I do, and that's why I say he threw it in the mud, which is ironic because they are the two people in the world who actually love Penelope the most.
Yes, and she doesn't hate Whistledown.
No, despite.
She's mad at Penn.
Yeah.
Yes. He sees it as hatred for Whistledown. He's created that because he wants an ally. But what happened here is, I think during his Colin's very imaginative and he can paint a picture.
Yeah.
And I think he almost had her persuaded.
Yes.
That he knew Penelope. And I think it was creating a belief system in Eloise that maybe he knew she was Whistledown. He just wasn't saying, like, protecting her secret also, because he spoke for her. I want your blessing. And I know Penelope would want it too.
Yes.
And he's talking about stuff from way back in the day and how observant he was to notice
that it would mean
this
a lot
about her.
too. Yeah.
Right? Like, he noticed she loved Penelope too. They're inseparable. Like, maybe he's observant. Maybe he knows. And then he says, hey, here's a gift. You hate Whistledown as much as me. And then she realizes he does not know.
Yeah.
I got myself caught up in the fantasy that I was creating this problem that wasn't really there. Only this problem is there. He loves somebody that is deceiving him, and that's going to break him.
Yes. Yeah.
And she's also in that moment scared for Penelope because she's been in that place. Well, she's been the one the queen thought was Whistledown.
Yes, very much that.
And the queen threatened her life in that carriage.
Yes. So yes, Eloise is like, this isn't just me being petty because Penelope hurt my feelings. Like, this is a very legitimate threat to my family now, because now my family is involved. So as much as Eloise is being Eloise, like, there are also very legitimate reasons for her to be angry and scared and all the rest of it.
Correct. And this scene here is a perfect scene of a lot of things that should have been said were left unsaid.
Yeah.
And some things are said that aren't exactly the whole truth. So this is a scene, like, you really have to watch their body language and facial expressions to get the entire story.
Yes.
So all the people that are like, that's not what they said. No. As humans, there's a lot of times we don't say everything that's in our brain. Context clues. Thanks.
Yes. So when Eloise reads this, Eloise reads the decree and looks incredibly upset. She has now realized just how much Colin loves Penelope and that it is real. She knows the difference between how he is with Penelope now and how he was with Marina. And like, she knows, hey, now that I think about it, now that I allow myself to, like, really think about it, like, he has loved Penelope all along. It was always there. I was just too blind to see it. And now that he's talking about it and talking about them as children and like thinking of how many fond memories they have as children. She's like probably thinking back of what I thought was just him bonding because that was my friend and him being a good brother. Actually, they were bonding too, and they have built up this relationship over all of these years, and only now are actually allowing the feelings like I'm finally out of the way, and that allowed them and their love to flourish because I was out of the way. And so I do wonder whether a little bit of that is kind of coming into it as well, because that kind of plays in with her initial feeling of my brother, how could you? Like, and did she use me to get to my brother and all of those things? Because obviously now she's like thinking through their whole childhoods, and now she's thinking they've actually loved each other the entire time, and I was the one standing in the way. So I think she's realizing this,
and
love
that's
is
why
real.
she goes to Scotland.
Yes. So I think she is now realizing that this love is real, and now she wants to protect this version of her brother, to see her brother so in love. And that's why I say this version of her brother, because he lost his father. He's been trampled on by his own brothers, not Benedict
And Marina.
by Anthony, and then he was trampled on by Marina. He has floundered for a place in society, and now he has someone who believes in him as much, as much as I do, or more so, because we even saw in that first season, she was the only other person other than Whistledown that was like, this isn't you. Why are you acting like this? And she really, really resented this version of her brother. So to see him go back to himself, and she's like, hey, it's because of Penelope, because Penelope has always been his truth and his home. And so she wants to protect this version of her brother who seems like he's finally healing. To see her brother so happy and in love, she's willing to put aside her own disgruntlements. Like, she was like, I don't know how to get past what Penelope has done and said and the feelings I had because of my own actions. Like, when you don't know how to get past something, but when it's for someone else's benefit and you see, hey, now it's outside of myself and it's affecting other people, now I can let it go because it's more important than me now. And I think that is what this moment is, realizing my vengeance for Whistledown and Penelope to have not ramification, accountability for what she did. Accountability means breaking my brother, and therefore it's not worth it.
Right.
So I feel like she was processing a lot. I mean, I might be just like reaching here, but that is kind of what I believe.
No,
might
but
have
it
been
all
going.
plays in. It all plays into that later, because, and I think Colin, in terms of the imagination, Colin is very much like Lord Ledger, and we saw him walking in the fields with Lady Danbury and tell me what is not there, like helping her with her imagination, and we see Colin do that all the time, creating the ball in the drawing room and telling the story. And I think it's important because we don't get actual scenes of him working on his book with Penelope.
Yes.
But we're supposed to glean that he is a good storyteller. He tells a story that evokes a specific feeling in her. And I think it's important to note, like, this just came after the "you went behind my back." And he's like, I've loved her. I love her more than I can even express. And then he brings up, you loved her as well from the day she came to the house. Like, he brings up a childhood. He doesn't bring up a last season memory or even a this season memory. He brings up, he's trying to say that she loved Penelope for a long time too.
Yeah.
He's equating their love together. You loved her once as well, meaning I loved her at the same time. So he's openly announcing, like, he's loving her loudly, and he's admitting that it's been there for all time.
Love that for you, Penelope.
I thought you were going to say love that for you, Patty. I have been trying.
Oh, sorry.
It's not that funny.
No, it's a laugh or we cry kind of a thing.
Okay, did we move on to the Cowper?
Yeah, so this is where I want to discuss the Cowper family. So the scene then cuts over to the Cowper household. And as much as I forever bitch about the dark lighting, for this scene, I will allow it because it makes sense. The dark mood setting of this room is kind of there to alert the viewers just to how absolutely dreary Cressida's prospects are. Now, even before we start talking about the scene, what I find really interesting...
We talk about her costuming.
No. Before even that, what I find really interesting is we have Lord Greer at the Cowper house sitting down with Araminta and Cressida discussing his marriage prospects to Cressida. Lord Greer does not seem the kind to have any sort of respect for women. He does
No.
not. None whatsoever. They are 1000% to be wed, bred, and not fed.
Bed 4 or 5 times.
I know, but this, yeah, 4 or 5
Yeah.
times. Like he is like women are absolutely just there to produce his offspring and then get back in their closet. Very much Aunt Petunia, get in your closet, Harry, kind of a person. So I find it incredibly interesting that we know that Lord Greer is one of Lord Cowper's friends. Where is Lord Cowper? Why is he like this is literally a sit-down negotiation of a marriage contract of sorts.
No, because Araminta says, we are excited about your marriage prospects to our daughter.
Yes.
I think the negotiation has already occurred with Lord Cowper. And now Araminta is having to present it.
He would not sit down with a woman and go through these.
This is not, they're not, yes, he's doing negotiating because this is the first time Cressida's truly hearing about it.
Yeah.
This is her discussing it. And this is their first, like how Lord Devlin came to the house to court.
Yes.
This is him coming to court, only they're having to tell Cressida all is said and done, right? Yeah. And the reason I believe this is because I know you've been waiting for it. I'm rewatching Poldark. And something very similar is in Poldark.
Yeah, but I feel very much like he is the kind that would say, well, I'm not wasting my time sitting down with a simple female to go over the rules. She'll be told the rules when she needs to know the rules, and she would just do as she is told. Like this is what I think is important here.
It
is not for you to understand. Like
that's what I think is important to hear. I don't think negotiation was supposed to occur here. I think the negotiation has already happened. If you notice, the thing that he brings up that's truly negotiating is the thing that he knows is odious.
Yes.
Right? He did not discuss these with Lord Cowper. Lord Cowper was the business arrangement, and now he is telling the women
what his expectation
just what I expect. Yes.
Yeah.
I expect your marital duties. I expect to have children. He knew these were not to be discussed with Lord Cowper because
if he starts talking about shades of pink, I do not like the shade of pink. I do not like that shade of tangerine. She will be wearing only. He'd be like, get out of my office.
Yeah, Lord Cowper would not listen. He probably was like, you can dress her however you want. I don't, that's for your marriage. All I care about is this is what her dowry is. This is what you're going to get.
That you're going to create an heir.
Yeah, there is a few scenes in Poldark where a young lady who is a cousin to the wife comes into the home. Her part of the family has fallen into a lack of funds. Mm-hmm. So they foster her. Basically, she becomes a ward of the Warlegan / Poldark family. But he then, because he's all about himself, George, he starts positioning her to wed a clergyman who's disgusting, who is a monster, legit, but most of his stuff is done under the cloak of, secrecy. So nobody knows about it. But he's decided he's going to court her. His wife has not even been deceased for a few weeks at this point, but he is seeking a new wife. And because men could do that, women could not. Because he had 2 children. Because he had 2 children that
just lowly creatures.
Well, and people believe that men could not mother children. So because he had children, he could find a wife the next day but this is a young girl. She's probably 16 or 17 years old. She definitely was not out yet. And George married her off to this man who's in his late 30s, early 40s, and super gross. But he discusses it with his wife, and that they get the negotiations done, and it's all about dowry and money numbers go back and forth. And then he comes home and he tells his wife it's done, and she goes, so when are you going to tell her? And he goes, oh, I thought I'd leave that happy announcement to you, knowing she's not going to take it well. He's leaving the bad, the icky work, the dirty hands work to his wife, because he gives the dirty work to everyone else. But it is it's basically the same thing. She got married off to a much older man for business arrangements that, he wanted to be aligned with old families because he's not. He's only a first generation rich person. So he's only been in society, like he's been in society most of
Only a
his life because of his
peasant.
uncle. Yeah. And people remember that it's not too far removed, right? So he's
Yeah.
aligning himself with like this clergyman is the cousin of this other family that's been around for generations.
Yeah.
So it's a lot the same thing. So, you know, watching this told me, you know, I just knew that Cowper had already negotiated the dowry. He agreed to marry her. He understood she was on the shelf, basically. They were hurrying up to marry her so their family's name wasn't tainted by her not being able to find a husband. And he agreed to the dowry, but now he's implementing other things he expects now that he's seen Cressida and realizes I could have my way here. There's a specific word I want to use here and I can't think of it right now, but he is using the fact that Araminta is very much a wife of the time where she defers to her husband.
She's very pliable.
Because you can, not pliable, you can tell she doesn't like it at all. She is just agreeing because she has to. Because her livelihood, where she lives, a roof over her head, all depend on this man.
Yeah.
And she's trying to get Cressida to agree, and Cressida has learned her role in society, and she's playing along. But the look of fear on her face when he says he wants really 4 to 5 kids, yes, I broke. The first time I watched that, I broke, and I was like, I mean, it's Cressida, but I mean, if you put anyone else there,
no person deserves that.
Yeah, Miss Goring has not found a husband either in a few seasons. Like this could easily be her. And she's not as snarky as Cressida. It sucks no matter who it is.
Yeah.
This man is
it should not be anyone's reality.
No, it should. To be forced into something like her family to save their own reputation are forcing her into a marriage with a pedophile.
Yes.
She was a child just a few years ago. For the majority of, for the entirety of his adult life, she was a child. She's only been an adult for the last 2 years, 3 years, essentially. She's 21 here.
I wouldn't even call her an adult. I would.
No, she's, compared to him, no way. She's a baby.
Yeah.
Even if he was my age, I'm almost 50.
I would.
Okay. Yeah. They made him. And back then people looked old. So he could have been 39. Who knows? But
don't do that to Stephen.
But you look at people in the 70s that are Gen X's age now, and they look like, look at the Golden Girls. I'm the age of the Golden Girls.
Patty's, you heard it here first. Patty's a golden gal.
Trust, I'm Dorothy all day. I already know who I am. But Gen Xers, like, we don't look like our age compared to what our age looked like in the 70s and 80s. So I'm assuming 200 years ago, you could be 25 and look like you're 70. So, we don't exactly know how old Lord Greer is, except that he's on death's doorstep, according to Eloise, and he's trying to marry a 21-year-old girl, and he's insisting on the marital duty.
Yeah, it was really gross.
And when you watch Poldark and you see this clergyman,
do you hear the threats in her voice there, people?
When you watch Poldark and you see the threats of, and this is season 3, by the way, when you see the threats of this clergyman about the marital duty and you don't get to say no, it's so gross.
Yeah,
I'm so glad I'm not in that time.
I don't think you and I would survive it, to be honest. No, we are way too outspoken. They would have been like, off with their heads.
Probably something.
They would have gotten rid of us long ago. Whoops, my wife fell down a crevice. How did that get there?
Well, and same clergyman. In childbirth, she almost died. And you see him outside praying to God that if it's God's will for him to be a widower again, he'd be okay with it. Praying for his wife to die.
There was a thing on the internet where a wife was on a jet ski and she doesn't know how to swim and she falls off and he's like, I don't have life insurance. And everyone was like, yeah, that dude is trying to offer you for the life insurance. But
my sister's ex-husband, she couldn't get sick or get hurt or anything. I will tell you, there's a legitimate moment in time where I was at her house after my mom had passed away a few months later. And she got up. She was wearing a pair of my mom's pajama pants because we hold on to things after someone passes away for a while, right? My mom was bigger than her. So she's wearing these pajama pants and they're too long for her and she trips. She lands right at my feet. I come in like, "Are you okay?" Her ex-husband comes in, "Can you work?" That's the first thing he said. First thing out of his mouth.
Yeah.
You better be able to work tomorrow.
Yeah, you can definitely see where people's motivations lie in those
You can
scenarios.
see why it's an X
Yeah.
in front of that name.
Yeah, definitely. That's
But
not
yes,
too guessing.
we were made. And I think out of any scene we see, no matter how overbearing Lord Cowper is, this is the scene that actually gives us
solidified for
the
me
feels for Cressida.
Yes. So Cressida is not paying attention at all. Like Lord Greer is drearing on about his intentions to marry Cressida, and Cressida is not paying attention at all because she's looking down in her lap at the Queen's decree and wondering if there is any way that she can use it to get out of this awful situation. Greer continues to dreary on about how Cressida will not be in any fashionable clothes after their marriage and how she will be in somber colors and styles. This is what Cressida's like looking at her mother like.
Her costume. I want to talk about her costume here because her mother dressed her up to look older than she was. Yeah. She looks like almost Lady Cowper's age. Like she's wearing one of Lady Cowper's dresses with the ruffles around the neck, the high neck. The way her hair is done is a lot more tame than it has been.
Yeah.
Yes, very mature hairstyle. And she's sitting ramrod straight. And you can tell this dress is not a new style dress. It's an older dress. I think her mother pulled it out of her closet.
Her own closet. Yeah.
Yes.
I can definitely see that, which is just gross.
Make her, and and I think that was for Lady Cowper's benefit, not Lord Greer's.
Yes.
I think that Lady Cowper did not want to feel the ick of selling her daughter off to an older man. So she was trying to make her daughter appear older to herself. Again, putting a little fantasy to cover up the reality of the situation.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that because it's just this whole thing just gave me so much ick. Like, can't even explain that a mother.
Cressida, we got the secondhand ick for you.
Yeah, like to me, this just solidified how, I don't want to say evil her mum is, but just how low she's willing to go in order to maintain her own lifestyle at the cost of her own daughter. Like that to me.
Yes. I mean, she sells her out. Here she kind of can remove herself because it's Lord Cowper who does the negotiating, right? For the marriage contract. So she's not selling her daughter out, although she's the one there on the auction block. If you think of it, like they're announcing to Cressida, this man is going to be your husband. Yeah. This is what your life's going to be. And it, again, fantasy versus reality. Cressida's fantasy that she created with Eloise in the room is completely crumbled. He totally crashes everything to the ground. She's not going to wear fine clothes. She's not going to get to be out in the ton. She's not going to get to spend his money. She's not going to get to go to anybody's house unless he deems them upstanding. And the engagement party was a smaller party, but notice Lord Greer wasn't there.
Yes. So
I must not think the Bridgertons are very upstanding.
No. And so I think that this is the moment where you know how the conversation that Violet has with Daphne, where she's like, even if the person isn't, you know, the true love for you, you can find little pieces of joy in your children. And then the same sort of conversation occurs with Portia as well, that basically even though her marriage to Archibald was awful, that she never regretted it because she got to be a mother, and she got to be a mother to 3 daughters that she adored. And as much as, like, I don't think that Portia is a bad mum. I think that she is a fierce mum. She loves her daughters. She raises them the best way that she knows how. But she hasn't failed them in regards to they are strong, they are independent. Well, Penelope's independent. Like
the other two are enmeshed. Like she does have a touch of the narcissism, and she enmeshed her other 2 children.
Yes. So, but I think this scene here proves the difference even between Araminta and Portia, that for as much as we vilify Portia for all her choices, she at least taught her daughters that at the end of the day, and I'll use this line very cheekily, Featheringtons take care of Featheringtons.
Featheringtons support each other. I can't wait till that scene because none of those girls are buying that.
At the end of the day, they do. they may barb each other, but I think they are always there to get each other. Like, I don't think that any of them would ever truly let themselves go through real dirt. Like, Penelope knew that the Marina thing would be a scandal, but they would get through it eventually. It's not the end of the Featheringtons or anything like that. But like, we see that when Lord Dundas comes a knocking, she is the one to fix that situation. She's never.
Well, the thing
she's
is,
never going to leave them.
If you look at the time Marina came out, okay, Finch had already played his cards.
Yes.
He'd already laid his hand, he already had proposed.
Yes.
And Prudence was on her third year and had no prospects. So I don't think Penelope thought she was hurting anybody. I think she thought Finch would still marry Philippa and Prudence would still have no one.
Yeah. So, and I think probably, like, if we're going to be real here, if any daughter was going to have no prospects, it was going to be Philippa, because she's got that mean scowl.
Prudence.
Sorry, Prudence. Philippa's beautiful and light in happiness with a touch of meanness.
And Prudence has RBF.
Yeah. I have notes on that in our next episode. But what I wanted to point out here was, I think this was a scene that really truly solidified that Araminta is an awful mother. Like, we cannot put Portia and Araminta in the same
No.
category, because Portia has always been like, hey, there are small happinesses that you can find even in a bad marriage. But literally, he is sitting there and saying, you will not be happy. You will not have the only things in your life that matter even a little.
Is me.
Yeah. You will just have me and my 5 children that you will give me. 5
The thing
experiences.
is he doesn't even say she will get to have children. He says, and I expect babies. You will give me children.
Yes.
Give me children.
Yes.
I so love children. And I'd like 4 or 5. And then the look he gives her is like, I dare you to defy me.
I think he would get a nanny or a lady's maid or a governess who was just like him, to raise them to be in his image and not let Cressida have anything to do with them, because he's like, you are too soft, you are fashionable, you are a disgrace to women, but I need a wife, and you're good enough. So I think that
I think that Araminta is looking at this like, this is exactly what I have, and I'm now forcing my daughter into the same situation, but
Yes.
there's nothing I can do.
Yes.
And I think that we know, like, he says, you are an extension of me. His children would be an extension of him. Like, she would have no voice in that house. It would be worse.
Yes. And so just to wrap this up and wrap up our episode, Cressida looks ready to pass out at the thought of having 4 to 5 children to this man. And I think
I think she already had the talk. She knows how babies are made.
And I think the only thing that is stopping her from passing out is the fact that she has this paper in her hand and the stirrings of some sort of plot formulating. Like, you can see her, she's like, this is not my reality. This is not my reality. I do not choose this. I do not accept this. I will find a way out of this. Like, for all she is a scrapper. They may play her down as dumb in some parts, but like, she wasn't willing to go down without a fight. And I respect her for that. Like, I don't blame her for trying to take Lady Whistledown's name, because if I were in the same scenario, I would have done the same thing. Like, I will create my own story. You will not decide this fate for me.
Oh yeah, because she thought, as much as her father talks about their place in society, she thought she could say she was Whistledown and have no consequences except freedom.
Yeah.
Because everybody at that party is talking. Now, when she first went to the party, her goal was to unmask Whistledown. It wasn't to become her.
Yeah.
But in that conversation, everybody is talking about she can do whatever she wants.
Yes.
That Cressida got caught up in that.
And that's the thing, is if you're a trapped rat and you see a path out, you're going to take that path without looking at it twice. Doesn't matter the fact that path leads to now an electrocuted box. It might be worse than the box that you're in, but it's a path out.
You see a tunnel. There's a light at the end. When you run out, you realize that it is a window.
Yeah.
And you are now crashing 20 feet down. 30 feet down to the rocks below.
When you are trapped like a mouse in that scenario, any way out is surely better than where you are. So you've got to take the chance, because not taking the chance, not consequences she was willing to live with. So for today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode in 3.5 minutes. If you have anything in particular you would like us to cover on YouTube or any Bridgerton knowledge you would like to share, please head to our Facebook page, The Ladies Bridgerton. And if you're enjoying our podcast, please remember to click like, subscribe, and leave comments wherever you are listening.
And if you are excited to see what kind of content the two of us can come up with if we actually are in the same room, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/TLB. I think it is. Look that up.
Oh, Patty, merch.
Oh, and we also for a fundraiser. Yes. So anyways, if you go to our Facebook group, we have the links in a pinned post there. For the Buy Me a Coffee, as well as we have merch on Teespring, which is just called Spring now. But if you Google T-E-E Spring, you got to scroll down because Shopify and stuff try and pretend like they're Teespring to get you to go to their website first. Scroll down a little bit. You're looking for Teespring. It's Spring, formerly Teespring, but we have merch over there. We have t-shirts, mugs, stickers, and the proceeds from that are also going into the fund to help get me to New Zealand so we can be content creator crazy women. And once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two mad women and supporting us in our delusion.
Yours truly, Tash the Tired Kiwi.
And Patty also. The tired lady.
Ohioan.